A scream rips through the thunder as stone shatters and fire blooms across the broken field. Dust hangs heavy in the air, swirling around two figures sprinting through the wreckage. One supports the other, a gaunt oracle whose breath rattles like dying wind. "Find the light," she gasps, eyes glazing with finality, before the world bleeds shadows. Behind them, black armored warriors surge forward, blades hungry for the broken crown's fragments. The ground trembles beneath colossal iron golems, angered sentinels born from grief. Each footfall cracks the earth. Each clash of steel echoes like a funeral drum. The first figure, a cloak torn and stained, clutches a single glowing shard close to her chest. Its dull pulse is the last ember of hope against the encroaching darkness. The second, hooded and silent, scans the horizon with haunted eyes, searching for allies in the haze. With one final ragged breath, the oracle's voice fades. "Guard it from those who would remake the world in Shadow's name." Her hand falls limp, the shard's glow dims, and then they vanish into the choking mist, leaving only whispers of prophecy behind. Years have turned, but some secrets never sleep. In Stormharbor, moonlight glints off rolling waves, and lantern-lit alleyways hum with life. And tonight, Avyn moves like a whisper through the docks, leather boots silent on damp planks, eyes scanning for the prize that pays her next meal. She slips beneath a splintered pier, where the tide pulls and pushes in steady rhythm. A faint blue glow flickers under warped wood. Her breath catches, her fingers nimble from years of pickpocketing, pry loose a broken board. There it is, a shard pulsing like a heartbeat, cool light dancing across her palm. She stares, remembering old sailors' tales of relics that heal and relics that destroy. Curiosity warps into something darker as the glow coils around her fingertips. She's frozen until distant shouts snap her back. Guards chasing a different thief shout curses and bark orders. Shoving the shard into her satchel, she melts into the shadows, heart hammering. Every instinct screams danger, but she can't let it go, not now. Meanwhile, deep in the stone halls of the Order of the Luminous Quill, Kaelis kneels before a lectern, strewn with scrolls and candle wax. His gaunt hands trace ancient runes that seem to shift under trembling fingers. "When silver tears the sky, 4 lights shall converge," he mutters, voice low and reverent. Each word lands heavier than the last, as if prophecy itself weighs on his shoulders. The other scribes laugh. They call him haunted, obsessed, until Kaelis pulls forth a half-erased tablet that mirrors his visions. The corridor's laughter dies on the stone floor. His chest tightens. He knows the whispers he hears in dreams are real. He's seen, felt their pull, and somewhere in this very city, a fragment calls to him. Back at the docks, Avyn tucks her dagger into her belt and slips through a maze of warehouses. The shard's glow pulses against her ribs, like it's alive. She glances over her shoulder, empty docks, empty streets, yet every shadow feels pregnant with threat. And still, she presses on, drawn deeper by the shard's silent song. Above her, in the vaulted sanctum, Kaelis uncovers a hidden alcove behind melting candle sconces. He brushes apart centuries of dust to reveal a mural, 4 figures bathed in light. One wields a blade, another an archer's bow, a third bears a hammer, and the last, cloaked, holds a gem glowing with the same blue fire. His heartbeat echoes in his ears. The prophecy is not legend, it's unfolding. Avyn's footsteps echo on damp stone as she slips across a narrow canal in a creaking boat. The shard thrums, urging her forward. A lullaby flickers at the edge of her mind. Her mother's song promised comfort in the dark. Her throat tightens. This power, it's not just coin, it's memory, it's promise, it's peril. In the chamber above, Kaelis whispers the final lines of the verse. "Only under the red moon shall the crown's true nature awaken." He looks up. Through stained glass, crimson light spills across ancient runes. His eyes narrow. Somewhere, someone else feels this pull. Someone else seeks what he hunts. And in that moment, though they're miles apart, the shard in Avyn's satchel pulses, In answer to Kaelis's words, two souls tethered by fate, drawn inexorably toward each other. Neither knows the other exists. Neither can imagine the danger they've unleashed. But the hunt has begun, and nothing will ever be the same. Lady Marisol stands at the head of the long obsidian table, shoulders squared beneath her silver-blue cloak. Torches flicker against the stone walls of Emberhold Keep's war room, casting dancing shadows on the ancient maps pinned behind her. She smooths the folds of her robes and meets each gaze in turn. To allow any shard of the celestial crown to fall into enemy hands, she begins, voice low but unwavering, would spell our ruin. Her words echo in the hush. Around the table sit emissaries and commanders, each sworn to protect the realm, yet divided on how to do it. Thorn leans forward, the faint click of his vambrace betraying his impatience. The dwarven engineer's broad frame makes the slender candle holders tremble. Destroy it, he growls. Better a broken world than one ruled by nightmare. We march at dawn to Greyspire ruins, shatter every shard, every altar, every whisper of that cursed relic. His gravelly tone carries the weight of battles lost and comrades buried. Lady Marisol's lips twitch in a half-smile. You speak of destruction, Lord Thorn, but what of the power within those shards? Power that could heal lands scorched by war. She inclines her head toward the aging scholar beside her, who presses ink-stained fingers against a stack of scrolls. Master Ravel shows us chronicles of the first shard's miracles, fields made fertile again, wounds closed in an instant. Ravel clears his throat, voice trembling. It is true, I have seen the words, yet those same pages warn of corruption, of hearts twisted by hunger for the crown's fire. He glances at Thorn. Power is neither benevolent nor cruel. It reflects the will of its wielder. From the shadows at the far end of the table, Lyra murmurs, "And what of those who bear grudges against us? My daughter's killer wore midnight robes and spoke the creed of the Shadowbound. You think they won't come for a shard? I've tracked their assassins across 3 forests and 2 mountain passes. Let these fragments exist, and the cult will rise again." Her pale eyes flash in the torchlight, grief and determination so intertwined they cannot be untangled. Thorn's hand curls around the haft of his hammer. "Then I will crush them in their dens," he snaps, one forged steel strike at a time. Lady Marisol lifts a hand. Enough. Her voice, once soft, now carries steel. "We stand on the brink. You speak of killing, of destruction, and yet none of you have tasted what it means to carry a shard." She turns to a cloaked figure, standing quietly behind the scholar, Kaelis, the former Templar now bound by prophecy. Only his deep-set eyes betray his unrest. "You've studied the runes, you've felt their pull." Marisol folds her hands. "What do you advise, Kaelis? Should we burn the shards to ash, or gather them under watchful eyes to preserve what good they might hold?" Kaelis clears his throat, voice calm despite the tempest within. "Fragments of the crown are conduits," he says. "They channel ancient magic beyond mortal comprehension. If we destroy them without understanding, we may unleash forces we cannot contain. But if we attempt to harness them openly, we invite betrayal, greed, and war." A murmur ripples around the chamber. Lady Marisol nods. "So we stand between ruin and perilous hope." She sweeps her gaze across the council. "I propose a third way. We will secure each fragment in sealed vaults at Emberhold, protected, studied, but never wielded." She meets Thorn's glare. "You will oversee their destruction only if they become irretrievable. Until then, none may touch them without my decree." Thorn's jaw clenches, but he bows his head. Lyra exhales a quiet breath, as if weighing her own doubts. Ravel nods, pen hovering over his ledger. Kaelis meets Marisol's eyes, a storm of gratitude and foreboding reflected in his gaze. Outside the battle room, torchlight spills onto cobblestones, slick with evening mist. Marisol descends the stairwell, thoughts as tangled as the lantern's flickering patterns. In her chamber, she writes a single line in her private journal. "The path we choose tonight will shape the fate of every soul in Stormharbor and beyond." Meanwhile, in the lower ward, Thorn strides through the forges, hot steel humming in his hands. He stops before a half-finished hammer, its head etched with runes only he can decipher. His knuckles whiten against the haft. In his mind, the memory of fallen kin fuels his resolve. He will carry out the lady's command, yet every fiber of his being urges him to break the shards, to end the crown's threat in blood and iron. And somewhere among the ancient oaks, bordering Emberhold's moat, Lyra sharpens an arrow against her whetstone. Each rasp of stone on steel sings of vengeance unclaimed. She breathes in the scent of pine and damp earth, reminders of the woodland she vowed to protect. Yet tonight, she wonders if her arrows might find targets closer to home, those in power who would bargain with shadow. High atop the keep's tallest tower, Kaelis stands beneath a single torch. He opens his leather satchel and carefully lays out the shard's sketch from his tablet of visions, each detail matched to his memory. He whispers to the runes, as though the stone itself might answer. "Guide us," he murmurs. "Show me the truth beyond prophecy." His voice drifts into the night wind, carrying hope and doubt in equal measure. In Emberhold Keep, alliances form, and tensions simmer. Each soul carries a secret, a fear, a hope, and as Lady Marisol's plan takes shape, the wheels of fate turn toward an uncertain dawn. They come together at the edge of Greyspire. As dawn bleeds through storm clouds, Avyn darting ahead, dagger drawn, Kaelis steady behind her, Templar sword glinting, Thorn's hammer swinging from his broad shoulder, Lyra's bow strung taut against her back. The air tastes of cold stone and ancient magic. Avyn slides between broken columns, senses alive. Every footstep echoes. She knows they're close. She pauses at a yawning archway, fingertip brushing a rune carved into cracked masonry. It shivers under her touch, as though warning her to turn back. Hunger for the shard hammers in her chest. Kaelis steps through at her side. He murmurs the warding chant. He's pieced together from half-whispered verses, voice low and resonant. Pale runes on the arch flare blue, then sputter out. It's weakening, he breathes. "We'll get one shard today." Thorn lumbers in next, hammer held like a mace of judgment. Sparks fizzle where its head meets the ancient stone threshold. "No magic will bar our way," he grunts. "Let them come." From the shadows, Lyra's eyes sweep the chamber. She knocks an arrow, breath steady. "I'll cover your flanks," she promises. Watch left corridor. Between fractured buttresses, the first sentinel awakens. Its form is jagged, living basalt molded into a warrior's shape, fissures glowing with molten orange veins. It creaks as it straightens, lifting a fist the size of a boulder. Avyn dives for cover behind a collapsed pillar as the golem's punch cracks the floor. Dust and pebbles surge at her back. Kaelis charges, blade raised, and strikes the sentinel's knee. Stone flakes like ash, but the golem barely falters. From above, Lyra releases her arrow. The shaft whistles through hot air and embeds in the sentinel's shoulder. The beast roars, a deep, grinding sound that rattles marrow. Thorn throws himself forward, hammer spinning overhead, and drives the head into the sentinel's chest crack. Lava light spills from the wound. The chamber trembles. More sentinels rise, towering guardians summoned by the stolen magic that still pulses in the ruins. 4 now, each moving with implacable purpose. "Regroup," Kaelis shouts. "Circle them." Even darts between 2 golems, blade flashing. She slashes at glowing veins, carving shallow grooves. Heat singes her arm, pain flaring, but she presses on, twisting free and vaulting onto a toppled column. From this vantage, she can see them all. Thorn plants his feet wide, swinging in slow arcs that ripple through the air. Each blow shatters stone. Each impact echoes like thunder. He bellows a battle cry that makes the very walls quake. Lyra crouches at the rear, arrow after arrow, launching in rapid succession. She judges each shot, ripping stone from stone, buying space for Kaelis and Avyn to maneuver. Kaelis meets a sentinel head-on. His sword traces glowing sigils in the air. Each strike disrupts the golem's magic, but its sheer mass bulldozes him back. He plants his feet, channels his inner light. A pulse of radiant energy knocks the sentinel off balance. He spins clear, even leaps, dagger to throat. The sentinel's basalt jaw snaps down, so close she feels its furnace breath. She twists free, cuts the rune at its collar, and steps back as it topples like a felled tree. But they only slow, they do not fall. Thorn roars and thrusts his hammer into the earth. The tiles fracture, spraying dust and grit like shrapnel. He sweats, muscles bulging beneath his armor. Every second is agony, and he welcomes it. He longs to see these stone gods broken. Lyra's keen eyes catch movement in a far arch. A sentinel traps Kaelis between two hulks, blades of stone swinging in unison. She looses a volley. One arrow pins a fissure shut, another lodges at a foot joint. The golem topples forward, staggering into its brother. Kaelis seizes the moment. He lunges, blade glowing, and carves his name into the sentinel's breastplate. A brilliant flash splits the dawn light, and the golem collapses in a heap. Cracks, spiderwebbing across its form. The last sentinel stands alone, at the chamber's heart. Its massive chest furnace bright, the others lie broken, smoldering. Thorn and Lyra close in, Avyn perches on a broken dais, watching for ambush. Kaelis readies the final strike. For a heartbeat, all is silent. Then the sentinel lets out a grinding roar, like a volcano about to erupt. It raises its arms for a final desperate blow. Thorn charges, hammer swung high. Lyra looses her arrow with unerring precision, shaft lodging in the sentinel's gauntlet. Kaelis channels his inner light into the pommel of his sword. Avyn leaps from above, dagger aimed at the rune, glowing like a heartbeat in the golem's skull. Impact. Stone shatters, light bursts. When the dust settles, only fragments remain. Shattered golem limbs, molten runes cooling to dull cracks. The chamber trembles, then falls silent. Avyn lands in the dust, chest heaving. Her satchel pulses once, then more fiercely. She exhales, gaze drawn to the ruined dais. There, lodged in cracked marble, lies the first shard, its azure glow undiminished. Kaelis retrieves it with trembling reverence. One down, he whispers. 3 to go. Thorn claps him on the shoulder, sending dust motes dancing. Well struck, Templar, he rumbles. Now let's get it somewhere safe. Lyra sheathes her arrows, eyes fierce. Safe? This only makes us targets. Avyn crouches beside Kaelis, studying the shard's facets. Then we hide it, she says, until we know what it truly is. Above them, the sky cracks open, thunder rolling in approval. Below, 4 souls stand amid ruin and victory, bound together by necessity and by the light they have claimed. The trial is over. The hunt has only just begun. Night has fallen, and the air cools to a whisper as they make camp among the shattered stones of Greyspire's outer courtyard. A blood-red moon hangs low in the sky, its light bathing broken columns and smoldering runes in an otherworldly glow. The 4 settle around a circle of embers, each lost in their own thoughts. Avyn leans against a crumbling wall, pulling the hood of her cloak over her face. Her satchel, heavy with the first shard, rests at her feet. She traces its outline through the fabric, every pulse of light echoing in her chest, like a heartbeat she can't silence. Hunger and greed war with something deeper, a spark of wonder she's never known she possessed. Kaelis kneels opposite her, polishing his blade by firelight. He murmurs a quiet prayer for the fallen sentinels, his Templar code clashing with the violence they unleashed. Guilt coils in his gut. He knows they did right, yet the purity of his faith feels tarnished. Each whisper of prophecy in his mind reminds him that darker choices lie ahead. Thorn sits to Kaelis's left, hammer propped against his broad shoulder. His breaths come slow and steady, but his eyes never rest. He watches the shadows beyond the fire, remembering every friend he's lost to cultists and corrupted magic. A growl rumbles in his chest. He would have shattered these ruins beneath their bones, left nothing but ash. Lyra stands at the edge of the camp, bow strung and arrow notched, but unmoving. Her gaze sweeps the tree line, where ancient oaks bow under the moon's weight. She thinks of home, the greenwood she once protected, now stained by the blood of her daughter's killer. Every heartbeat says revenge, and every arrow she's loosed hisses his name. The fire crackles, silence stretches taut, and in that breath, Thorn's fingers slip between his belt and breastplate. His gauntlet closes around something small and smooth. He tucks it away without a sound. No one notices. A soft rustle from the shadows sends Lyra's head snapping around. She draws her bow with the speed of a viper, arrow aimed toward the darkness. Something moves, she whispers. Avyn freezes, eyes darting to the tree line. Could be wolves, she says, voice low and flat. Or worse. Kaelis stands, sword in hand. Stay behind me, he says gently to Avyn, but his resolve wavers when Lyra steps past him. Blood in her eyes, a figure springs from the undergrowth. Slender, silent, cloaked in midnight robes. Steel glints in the moonlight. An assassin's blade aimed at Lyra's heart. Lyra's arrow flies true, slicing through the assassin's elbow. He hisses, twisting free, and lunges toward Kaelis instead. Kaelis raises his blade, but the assassin is faster, spinning behind him, dagger at Kaelis's throat. Time slows. Avyn's hand goes to her dagger, but a rock slips beneath her boot, betraying her position. The assassin's head whips around, eyes burning with fanatical purpose. He plunges the dagger home, but Kaelis shifts, taking the blade in his side. Pain bursts through him like hot iron. Lyra skids forward, blade drawn at the assassin's throat. Stay down, she snarls. The assassin slides back into the night, vanishing among the trees as though he was never there. Lyra whips her head toward Kaelis, whose hand is pressed to his wound. Are you? She starts, but her voice catches. Kaelis's eyes are clenched shut. He tastes copper on his tongue. Behind him, Thorn steps forward, hammer raised, but his gaze flickers to the small bulge at Kaelis's hip, where the shard should rest. Kaelis, Avyn whispers, crawling to his side. The shard. Kaelis's jaw tightens. He lifts a trembling hand, not for his sword, but toward Lyra. You hurt? Lyra's bow drops. Forgotten. She shakes her head, eyes wide. He came for you. Kaelis's breaths come ragged. He can save his allies or secure the shard that binds them all. The prophecy bites at his mind. 4 lights shall converge, only under blood moons rise. Thorn's voice grumbles behind him. We can't leave him here. Avyn locks eyes with Kaelis, half hope, half plea. He stares at the blood soaking his tunic, then at the spot where the shard should be. A choice stands between them. Protect the fragment, or protect a friend. His fingers curl around the hilt of his sword, then flex. In that instant, the shard pulses against his hip, warm and alive, a reminder that destiny will not be denied. Kaelis exhales, lifting Lyra into his arms. We move now, he rasps. We keep each other alive. Avyn scrambles up, searching her satchel in panic. Thorn's hammer drops to the ground with a muted thud, his face pale as he pulls the cooling shard from its hiding place. They stand as one, 4 broken souls, bound by blood and magic, hurtling toward a fate none of them fully understand. And above them, the blood-red moon burns on. Dawn bleeds through ragged clouds as cold light seeps into Greyspire's shattered courtyard. Avyn is first awake, her breath fogging in the chill, eyes snapping open. She reaches for her satchel, heart stutter-stepping when her fingers find empty cloth. Where's the shard? She hisses, pushing herself up. The fragment she and Kaelis fought for, the one that pulsed like a heartbeat, has vanished. Behind her, Kaelis emerges from the shadow of a toppled column, hand pressed against his wound. His gaze finds hers, grim. "It's gone," he says quietly. "Someone took it." Avyn's pulse spikes. But why? Who? A sudden crack of stone on stone splits the air. Lyra appears at the fractured archway, bow in hand, eyes wide. "An assassin," she breathes. "He came at first light, cloak of night, blade dipped in shadow." She steps closer, voice low and urgent. His sigil, the shadow bound. "They've returned." Thorn lumbers forward, hammer resting on his shoulder. Rage lights his eyes. "They dared to steal from us. They'll choke on regret." Avyn shakes her head, knees weak. "We can't track him across open land. By the time we catch his trail, he'll have sold the shard, or brought worse here." Kaelis presses a hand to the rune-etched marble beneath his feet, dark blood seeping between his fingers. The prophecy spoke of convergence under the blood moon. He murmurs, but it also warned of hunters beyond mortal reckoning. A low howl cuts through the dawn air, long, mournful, otherworldly. All four freeze, senses prickling. High above them, silhouetted on Greyspire's tallest tower, stands a spectral wolf. Its fur shimmers with moonlight, eyes glowing the same cold blue as the missing shard. It lifts its head and howls again, more a summons than a warning. Lyra steps forward, voice trembling. It's calling to it, to the shard. Avyn clenches her fists, blood still pounding in her ears. "Then we need to find it first." Kaelis swallows, each breath a struggle. "But without the shard, our path is blind. We may be walking into a trap." Thorn's hammer thuds against the stone floor. "Let them trap us. I'll break every bone they hide behind before I give them mercy." Lyra meets his glare, steel in her eyes. "We need more than brute force. We need..." A distant rumble rolls through the ruins. The tower trembles, as if it holds a secret too heavy to bear. The spectral wolf's howl echoes again, fading into the wind. Avyn steps into the courtyard's center, chin lifted. "Then we split. Kaelis and I will trace the assassin's steps." "Thorn, Lyra, you lure that wolf away from the tower. If it guards the shard, we'll need every advantage." Lyra nods, arrow on bowstring. Thorn hefts his hammer. Each moves to their task. Two into the ruin's shadowed heart, two toward the crumbling tower, where dawn and dusk collide. Kaelis lays a hand on Avyn's shoulder, a steadying weight. "Be careful," he warns. "There's more at stake than a single shard, the balance itself." His voice trails off as the howl returns, low and insistent. Avyn tightens her cloak, eyes narrowing. "Balance or not," she says, voice firm, "we survive this, together." They split into pairs, vanishing into the broken stones and half-lit corridors. Behind them, the tower stands silent, its guardian still watching, its purpose still hidden. Above it all, the blood moon's last rays fade, and a new day begins. The hunt for the celestial crown has grown deadlier, and as the wolf's eyes blaze with shard-born light, one truth rings clear. They are no longer merely seekers of power. They are prey in a world determined to swallow them whole.